Hello, hello, everyone. I'm Jill Hope, and today is episode 6 in our Women with Wealth series. This is where we come together for a concentrated period of time. It's short, it's focused, it's to the point, and we look at those things that come up in our lives that stop us from living our dreams. And so today, I am so excited to talk about something that I have found to be a trap that I see women falling into when they're going for something that they want. And it stops you in your tracks, it kills your dreams, and we need to stop doing this, ladies. So I'm going to talk about this today and share what I see around this trap, how we get stuck in it, and most importantly, how to get out of it if this is something that you find yourself happening. And I have to say that I think everyone at some point or another falls into this trap. And I know I definitely have myself. So before I get into that, I want to very briefly just touch on something that I am so excited about. I have been working on the final touches in the agenda for our The Wealth Within retreat, which is happening on Saturday, April 17th. I cannot wait for this thing. It's going to be so exciting. It's something that I have really felt inside my heart that I've wanted to do for probably about almost a year now, actually. It was right around the time that things shut down that I started having this vision of doing this retreat live. But, for obvious reasons, it hasn't really been something that people would be comfortable doing. So I kept thinking, seeing it in the future, seeing it in the future. And I thought, you know what? I'm drawing my line in the sand. I'm doing it virtually this first time. And that's what's happening next week. And not only are we going to take a deep dive into helping you to really understand what's sort of under the covers when it comes to your relationship with money, but when you start to see that, you start to see how you put blocks in your path as you are going for your dreams. Because one thing that we know is that how you do anything is how you do everything. And it goes that way for money as well. How you do money plays out in many different areas in your life. So when you can start to see that and you understand your patterns, you can then take a step back and more consciously choose differently. And when you take different actions, you receive different results. Now, not only will we be diving into this journey to look at your money and your relationship with money, but all along the way in our day during that retreat, we will be taking what I'm calling wellness breaks, because I really want you to feel nurtured through this process and not just feeling like you're sitting on Zoom for 5 hours on a Saturday. So I've got someone else coming in who's going to take us through some lovely, very divine feminine type processes, just to allow you to be able to integrate what you're learning and really take it to a different level, feel it in your body, and have a great overall experience. So that's next Saturday. If that's something that you want to join us for, we still have spots available. You can just go to ishinewealth.com/retreat. Check that out there and get yourself signed up. And if you have questions, you can reach out to me at jill@ishinekids.com. All right, so let's get into this juicy topic all about this trap that we find ourselves in. Okay, to start, let's take a look at this idea of desire and the evolution, more importantly, of a desire. So typically when someone has a desire, it's typically because there's something that's happening in your life that you don't want anymore. You've decided that you want something more. So it could be a different home, it could be a new job, it could be maybe making more money in your current business than you are right now. It could be having a baby, it could be finding a particular relationship, okay? Whatever it is that you want, whatever that desire is, it's typically born from a place of having not experiencing it, basically. And Abraham-Hicks, what they call this is contrast. So you experience some contrast in your life and it has you wanting something more. So that's sort of this place that many of us find ourselves in when we have this desire and we start looking for something different in our lives. So you have this desire, and then if you follow manifestation processes, you will start to feel into that desire. You'll start to get a vision of what that looks like when it's in your life. You'll feel it. You'll really make it clear. You'll You'll get that clarity of what that would be like to experience that. You start to get excited about it. You get really, your energy gets amped up about it. And then you probably start taking some solid next steps forward to create that in your life. And what happens for so many women, and like I said, it's happened to me, and I see it a lot with clients. And some clients get really, really upset at this point. But what will happen is you'll be doing all the things that you know to do, and then you start to experience what looks like roadblocks, what looks like challenges. It can look like major appliance malfunction. It seems almost like everything is conspiring to stop you from having what you want. And it can feel that way. It can feel like all forces are against you. And what I want you to know about this is, first of all, it's a natural part of the process. It's actually, you couldn't have that thing that you want without going through it. Because what's happening is that these things, showing up in your life, all this chaos that's erupting, is calling something forth from you that needs to come out of you in order for you to step into that thing that you want. It's because, you hear, right, that like everything that we need to have what we want is within us. And I firmly believe that. And what I really think is going on when this chaos erupts and these challenges come up on the path to your dreams is that you are being called to be more of who you really are. So it's not for you to not be, to be something that you're not at all. It's to call forth something that is dormant within you that you step into so that you can move forward. But the big trap that I see so many women fall into is that they see all these things occurring, and where their mind goes is, oh, I guess it's not meant for me. And so they stop. And the sad thing is that the minute you stop, that's when you don't receive. You don't not receive because it's not meant for you. You don't receive because you stop. Somewhere along the lines, you make that decision that it's not meant for you, that God doesn't want you to have it, or whatever you tell yourself, some version of that story. And that's the trap. The chaos erupts and we decide that in our minds. We make a decision in that moment. And I want to suggest to you that there's another way. There's something else that you can replace that decision with that actually moves you through it. And it's something that when I've talked to my clients about this, I have some clients that get extremely resistant to this idea, to the point where, I had one client once who got super angry with me. She was really, really angry. It brought her to in a fit of tears. It was like there was so much resistance. And what the answer is, what you do to move through it is you embrace and you accept where you're at now. You don't fight against it. You don't make it wrong that you're experiencing what you're experiencing. You accept it, and actually you do more than accept it. You actually are grateful for it. You find the gratitude within yourself for what's happening. Now, to do that is a mind shift. If your mind normally goes to, well, this isn't meant for me, then thinking, oh, this is a gift for me, that's like completely different thinking, right? But that's really good, because the thought of this isn't meant for me has you taking certain actions which look like stopping. And the thought, I'm so grateful for this because it's showing me something that I need to grow through. It's showing me all of the gifts that I already have in my life so that I can make my life even better. That will then have attached to it completely different behaviors and actions that actually lead you where you want to go. But if you can't get yourself to appreciate what you have in your current circumstances, you can never have what you want. Because think of it like this. Think of a child. If you've got a child, and whether you have kids or not, it doesn't matter. You can all envision this. We've all seen these kids, right? Where you see a child and they get something great. They get this, triple decker ice cream cone or whatever. And then they want the next thing. And then they want the next thing. And then the next thing. And this all happens in the span of like an hour. Well, as that parent or that guardian or that grandparent who is with that child, at a certain point, you want to see some gratitude, right? You want to see that they appreciate the ice cream cone they just got before they ask for the next thing. You want to hear them thank you. You're really looking for that gratitude. And when you don't get it, sometimes we find ourselves saying, if you're not going to be grateful for what you just got, well, I'm not going to give you more until you're grateful for this. And that's kind of like what the universe is doing with you. If you can't be grateful for the great things in your life that you already have, why would the universe think that you can handle any more? You've got to take a step back if you want that next thing and really be in appreciation for what you have. Because if you're hating on your current life, if you're hating on your job, if you're hating on the fact that your business isn't making more money, all of that hatred, anger, frustration, that energy, that is resistance. That is push away energy. It just repels anything that you want from coming to you. It puts a big block up there. And then we tell ourselves that when it's not happening, that there's blocks outside of you. And that's a lie. These blocks are blocks you're putting up from your energy, from how you're feeling about the situation. So the real answer in this situation is to find the gratitude in where you're at. Be grateful that you have that job because it's currently paying the bills. Be grateful that your business is making any money whatsoever, and that you're even helping one person along the way. And that you get to do this. You get to attempt to live your dream because you believed in yourself that much. So how can you be grateful for the current situation that you're in? Now, what a lot of people also do is they feel that, okay, Jill, if I'm grateful for this situation, like let's say I'm in a house that I don't love, it's too small, things need to be updated, whatever it is, and I want to get my dream home now. How can I justify being happy here? Because won't that stop me from being able to get my dream house? Because now I'm saying, well, this is fine, and I'll get complacent. And what I want to say to that is that there is a nugget of truth in that we do get comfortable in our discomfort. There is such a thing as comfortable mediocrity, where it's more comfortable to do nothing than it is to actually go for what you want. We convince ourselves that this is enough, this is good enough. And sometimes we even convince ourselves that, hey, I'm happy with this. And that's great if you really are. But what I know about human nature and about life in general is that there's a seed in every single living thing that desires more life, more abundance, more. It's inherent in all of us. So if you deny that about yourself and you try to tell yourself you don't want more, that is actually a lie that you're telling yourself. So how do I reconcile these two positions of being so comfortable in your discomfort that you make it okay, excuse me, and accepting and appreciating and even being grateful for your current situation while you continue to move forward? And what it really is it is a difference in how you're holding your energy and what you're focusing upon. Because when you're focusing in the direction of, I don't need to try for more, this is just fine for me, you're seeing life from a very small lens. You're actually creating a smaller life. Your life is actually literally getting smaller.
It has.
When you can see what you've got that's in your current environment, and you can start to see it from the lens of gratitude and appreciation and the gifts it brings you, focusing on gratitude, that energy of gratitude is a very high vibration. We're always vibrating something. So you're either vibrating, justifying and settling energy, or you're vibing grateful, love, expansive energy. One energy is shrinking everything, and the other energy is expanding everything. So although I know it seems like it's kind of the same thing, it's actually two completely different levels of vibration and frequency in your body. And I find that when I work with people, it's pretty easy for us to connect with the energy of gratitude, because we all relate to that in different areas of our life. We all know what it feels like to feel thankful for something. We all have things in our lives that we feel thankful for. And so when you can take that energy of thankfulness, gratefulness, and put that on in the focus of that thing that you that's creating a little contrast that you want to move away from, when you can actually hold that thing in a space of gratitude, in that energy and vibration of gratitude, you start to expand in that direction. So I want to share a couple of examples that hopefully will make this seem a little more real for you and help you get your head around it better. So the first one was when I was trying to find my life partner. And I was actually almost 30. So I didn't meet my husband until I was 30. And I had dated a lot. It wasn't like I didn't date. It wasn't like I didn't have long-term relationships. I had all of that. And I dated some amazing men. I mean, I had really good relationships where, we stayed friends long after. And I'm still, I still would feel very happy to run into any of them anywhere. And it's a very loving, relationship. However, I knew they weren't my life partners. And so I knew I wanted to have kids. I wanted to have a family. I wanted to meet my partner. And it just didn't seem like I was meeting the one. And so finally, I'm starting to feel that biological time clock ticking. I'm getting a little worried. And I knew that something inside of me, something about how I was thinking needed to change, because I've been studying personal development and success at this point for 10 years. I started in my late teens, so pushing 20. I started reading about this stuff. So I knew that in order to change this situation, I had to change something about how I'm thinking and how I'm holding my energy. And so I don't really know where I got this, other than there was a book by Wayne Dyer that just really spoke to me at the time, called Big Magic. It was one of his early books, but it really kind of opened up this idea of appreciating and being grateful for what you have. So even though it's not what you want. And so even though I was alone, I didn't have a partner. At this point, I wasn't even dating anyone. I made a decision, and the decision I made, and it changed my life, because the decision that I made was that I am going to completely immerse myself in single life. I am going to I had my own apartment at the time. I thought, I'm just going to love living in my own apartment. I'm going to decorate it, however I want, and know that I get to make all the decisions. And I'm going to focus on all the great things of being alone, of living as a single person, a single adult, fully responsible for my own life. I had a great job. I had friends. And so I was really just making this decision that I'm going to make this the best life I can make it. And I did that. And I ended up making a great friend in my apartment building. And we used to do a lot of fun things together. And my apartment, I bought new furniture and made it, decorated it exactly the way I wanted it to be. And I just really started to love making all my own decisions and not having to necessarily check in with anyone. And I really, really embraced it. And within just a couple of months of doing this, I ended up getting this offer through my company at the time to go to England and to work in their satellite office for 6 months and help them get things set up there. So I was kind of on the fence about it because I'm like, 6 months is kind of a long time. And I feel like I'm in the prime of my life. And, I sort of looked at it like, oh, I'm putting my life on hold to go to England for 6 months. I don't know why I thought that, but I did. So I was not sure I was going to do it. I talked to my parents and they're like, Jill, are you crazy? And my mom was a real, she loved England like this. She studied English history and she was all about all the kings and queens and, just was really into everything about England. So I knew that like they had that kind of, they were like putting that on me like, oh, but you'd get to discover all this stuff and travel and yada, yada. And so I got really excited about it. And so I said yes. And I decided to go. And plus, why not? Because I'm single, right? I had nothing tying me to Chicago, and why not go? So I went, and there was a very cute boy in the office, I have to say. And it was a very close-knit environment. And, immediately I was drawn to this person. But I thought, no, your mind sort of says, oh, don't, you just got here and don't be silly and all that stuff. And I was really focused on my job too, but I wanted to immerse myself in the culture. And, within 6 months I guess actually it took a year. It actually took a year. I was friends with my now husband there, met in the office, but it took actually a year before we started dating. And they say that's the best way to do it is become friends first and then start dating. But all of that to say is that all of that opened up for me, that opportunity, and going there and meeting him almost immediately, that all happened after I embraced living my single life and really embracing it, like really loving it, really being grateful that I could do all these things for myself. The other example I want to share with you, and it was very similar, and I actually used this previous experience in my life and applied it to what I'm about to tell you. And it's when we were trying to have our son. So, now knowing that I didn't even meet my husband until I was 30, and then we dated for a couple of years, and then we got married, and then we're trying to have a baby. And so I'm in my mid-30s now, and it wasn't happening. Like I wasn't getting pregnant. And so I was starting to get stressed out now because I had always had a dream of having this family. And here I am pushing, my later 30s at this stage, and it just wasn't happening no matter what. So I was feeling really kind of desperate, actually. And desperate energy is what? It's repelling energy. It pushes away what you want, just like angry or frustrated energy does. All of that it's repelling. So I knew, because I suddenly again started thinking, okay, let's apply what you know, Jill, to your situation here. What do you know about what's going on? I knew that my desperation that I was feeling, that vibration in my body, was pushing away any hopes of conceiving this child that we so desperately wanted. So I took a step back and I'm like, okay, I need to do something about this. I need to shift my energy. Well, interestingly, right around that time, we had dinner reservations with a couple friend of ours, and they had one child, but they were going through some challenges in trying to conceive another child, but had recently made it happen. And they had been using a reproductive endocrinologist that they were like in love with because he helped them with both of their kids. And so I was talking about that, this was a challenge for us. And they shared this man's name and number. And so the next day I thought, all right, I'm getting an appointment with him and we're gonna change the situation for us. So I was feeling hopeful at this point. And I made the phone call and I'm sitting on the phone and I asked to get an appointment and they said, sure, we'll schedule you. This was in May. And they said, yep, we can get you in September. And I was 36, 37 at the time. And you would have thought that they said, we can get you in 10 years. September to me from May seemed like an eternity, like my biological clock would completely shut off by then, that it would be a hopeless situation and I'd never be able to have the family that I wanted. I mean, that's how devastating it was for me. So I made the appointment, and I kid you not, this is exactly what happened. I made the appointment, hung up the phone, and as I was hanging up the phone, I literally just dropped to my knees. I literally just crumbled to the floor. I'm even sharing this. I'm feeling the emotion of that moment. It was so devastating to me. And when I look back at it, though, I'm thinking, Jill, it was 5 months, but it was so devastating at the time. And so after I picked myself up off the floor, and I took a step back and I thought, wait a minute, like, let's apply what we know here. And I remembered that I felt very similarly to this when I was 29 and couldn't find my life partner. And so I thought, what did I do then? Oh, yeah, I fully embraced my current situation. I decided to love where I was at, to totally love my single life. Mm-hmm. So I thought, okay, I'm going to do that in this situation too. Mm-hmm. So I thought, if I never have kids, what are the good things about that? And I started to get real clear about what are all the great things in my life right now. We had this home and we both had great jobs, and we used to we had a restaurant list. So we'd go to all these great restaurants in Chicago, and we would travel. We loved to travel. So we'd travel, and, we had all these things that we were doing. We didn't worry about money. And, so all these things were really great. So I thought, okay, I am going to throw myself into my, couple life. And it was right before the summer. As I said, it was in May. And so I made this decision, this solid decision in my body. I said, okay, I'm going to have the best summer of my life. I'm going to not even think about having a baby. I'm not even going to try. I'm just going to, I'll see that doctor in September, and I'm just going to go for it. And I'm going to whoop it up this summer. And long story short, I won't go through all details, but I ended up conceiving, as I look back on it, the very week that I made the phone call to the doctor, dropped to my knees, and made this new decision. That's when I conceived. After I made this decision that I am going to enjoy my life and be grateful for what I have. It allowed me to drop the resistance, to drop that desperation and that repelling energy, and to open up to receive. Mm. So hopefully those stories kind of help to understand, how do you do that in a situation where you feel clingy and needy and like it's not going to happen. You can switch it. You can go from feeling desperate to feeling grateful for what you have. You mm-hmm. really can. Mm-hmm. And the other thing I want to say about this is, people have had horrific experiences, mm-hmm. like nothing like what I've described here today, right? Like like bad. Mm-hmm. And it can feel like, well, in comparison, like there's no way, I can't find any gratitude in this. There's nothing to be grateful for here. But what I want you to understand is that, well, first of all, no matter what your experience has been, and I honor everyone for their experience, there's always somebody who has had a worse experience, mm-hmm. or is having a worse experience. It always can be worse. It always can be worse. If you think about that for a minute, if you take some time and you think about that, you will know what I'm saying. And so, because it can always be worse, there's always something to be grateful for. So, and the truth is that if, it doesn't feel good to be pissed off and frustrated all the time, that doesn't feel good. It's not a great way to go through life. When you are holding on to, everything going wrong in your life, it doesn't open you up to see all the gifts that are all around you. So it's not fun, it's not enjoyable, and you're missing out when you can't let go. I'm not saying it's easy, but it's a trap to think that it has to stay this way and that you can't ever get more and or have the life that you desire because of whatever you're experiencing now. Because if you can shift into gratitude, gratitude, it's like a superpower. When you can make a little tweak, a little shift, a little turn in that direction, find one thing, if that's where you're at, you release energy, you release resistance, and that release of resistance is like letting go of the block that's in front of you. It's like dropping the hot potato that you've been holding that's burning your hand, and you can't figure out how you can ever have a hand that just doesn't feel burnt. You got to drop that potato, and it'll heal, and you'll bring in what you want. You'll get the healing that you're looking for. So that's really what I wanted to share about this trap, and I kind of feel like we kind of went off onto a little bit of a tangent there, but there's this trap affects a lot of things. It's not just feeling like we're not being able to create what we want. It also can impact our happiness. And gratitude really allows you to connect to a level of happiness, to connect to an energy that's very closely aligned with love. And when you move into that space, when you shift your vibration over there, that's when you're in that receiving and allowing space, where those things can come in, where you can actually see the next step and you can see the opportunity to move forward. And I've seen miracles happen for people when they can get their head around appreciating where they're at now. It's so powerful to be able to rest in that place of where you are while continuing to move forward. And those two things can exist together. Yes, you can be at peace with where you are and still take steps to have something even greater. It's not one or the other. You don't have to completely trash your current experience in order to have more. In fact, that doesn't even work, as I said. You don't have to love your experience and not try to get more either. You can create a situation where you can completely love where you're at for all the gifts it's bringing you now, and keep taking those steps. Keep seeing your vision. Don't let go of the vision because you love what you have. You can have all of it. It's like the parent who has one child and then has two. The second one comes along. You don't stop loving your first child to love your second, to bring them in, right? You love them and you just make space to love even more. So that's what I'm talking about here, okay? Gratitude is not complacency. It's not complacency. It allows you to step into that vibration. So questions as we wrap up here today is, ask yourself, where in my life am I taking things for granted? What aspects of my life am I not in appreciation for? What aspects in my life am I condemning? Where am I not appreciating what I have right now? And really, that would be a great journaling question. Where am I not appreciating my current life right now? And look at those places. And then the next question would be, what can I do to see the gift in this experience? Or what are some of the gifts that maybe I haven't even thought about coming from this experience? And even if you can think of one gift, you're on the right path. You're moving in the right direction, and you've dropped some of the resistance. So that's what I want to share for today. Thank you so much for being here and listening. And if you are feeling pulled at all to check out our retreat on April 17th, I'd love to support you there. It's going to be an intimate, beautiful, sacred space that we're creating together. The women that are stepping in are conscious, driven women who know that there's more for them and are going to create that. And I am pretty sure if you're listening to this right now that you're probably one of those women as well. So if you have questions about that, you can reach out at Jill at ishinekids.com, or you can check out our retreat page at ishinewealth.com/retreat. I'll be back here again next week, same time, same place, I believe, for the next episode in our Women with Wealth series. I hope to see you then. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye for now.
Thanks, Jill.